What is up, guys? How you doing? Last month we made a video on the Premier League predictions that we had from last season, and in a battle of wits, Dean, myself and a Twitch follower kind of just went all out. Unfortunately, the result was rather underwhelming and pretty shit. But this time we have decided to take it by force. So the way it works is that we have made our Premier League predictions before the weekend's games kicked off, and we have aggregated the average position of each team into the positions we thought that they were going to finish. So basically, don't see this as it's just my prediction. This is a Fick Fufa Premier League table prediction, and kind of like the last video and Kai Havertz's performance over the weekend, it's going down like a lead balloon. Without further ado, let's crack on. Kicking off our list in 20th is Fulham, and it's basically the team that had the lowest finish technically, as they won the championship playoffs with RAF lookalike Scott Parker at the helm. Fulham have been involved in very little transfer action this window. Perhaps they learned from last time when they spent close to £100 million and ended up getting relegated anyways. Either way, they inspire little confidence, and they are pretty much the Norwich of last season. In 19th, we have predicted West Brom, another newly promoted side that we expect to go straight back from whence they came.
Return from whence you came.
Similarly to Fulham, they haven't made too many big transfer moves this window. However, they did finish above Fulham last season, and they have a Premier League proven manager in Slaven Bilic, so yeah, we put them at 19th anyways. In 18th, we have Brighton and Hove Albion, and to be honest, Arsenal fans are kind of going to rejoice at this one. They may have finished 15th last season, which sounds far from relegation on paper, but before their controversial win over Arsenal, they could have easily been right in the relegation battle. But a streak of solid performances kept them safe. However, since then, Brighton have lost Aaron Moy and Anthony Knockout, with Adam Lallana being their marquee signing, giving him a fairly exorbitant deal that could come back to bite the Seagulls when his inevitable injury happens this season. 17th is going to be Aston Villa. After their final day heroics last season, we have predicted Villa to finish 17th again, avoiding relegation. Now, they have made some quality signings in Matty Cash and Nolly Watkins, two of the best players from the Championship last season. However, they still have some way to go before they prove to be a top quality side, and they rely very heavily on Grealish, and so their move is a lateral one for the most part. In 16th, we have West Ham. A lot of drama going on at West Ham at the moment, as Mark Noble, Jack Wilshere and other senior players have been venting their frustration toward the club's management for allowing Grady Diagna to leave to relegation rivals West Brom, while fans question the club's ambition and goals in general, as they have been doing for like the last 2 decades. West Ham were lucky to avoid relegation last season, and although their long-term plans are looking fairly ominous, they do still have enough quality in their squad, and David Moyes is a reliable enough manager to keep them afloat, although their clock is ticking. In 15th, we have predicted Leeds, our final newly promoted side, and the one that we feel not optimistic about, but still optimistic about. The shit-housing giants of English football are back in the top tier, and we think there is enough passion, determination, and grit in the squad to keep them afloat. They've made some really solid transfers, such as former Real Madrid target Rodrigo, and possibly Julian Draxler. With Bielsa at the helm and a big club mentality, Leeds should be able to finish lower mid-table. In 14th, we have put Crystal Palace. Last season, Crystal Palace were looking strong, sitting at 9th place after game week 30. However, after this high that earned 1 point in their last 8 games, failing to score on 6 occasions, this form saw them finish the season in 14th. Palace are another team with a fairly strong, reliable squad, and a talisman they can rely on in Zaha, who ensures that they'll avoid relegation, but their toothless attack prevents them from finishing any higher. Batshuayi could be the solution to this problem, but he didn't exactly set Selhurst Park alight on his last loan spell there. And Crystal Palace should always be skeptical with the signing of big, bulging target men from top 4 sides. Christian Benteke. 13th, Burnley. Not much to say about Burnley. They seem to have settled as a lower mid-table Premier League team, but they lack the talented strike force required to do well. In 12th place, we have Southampton. After looking like relegation candidates until November, the Saints managed a respectable 11th place finish thanks to the efforts of Kevin De Bruyne's hero, Danny Ings. We expect a similar finish from this team as they maintain the same core squad without any significant additions or losses. And by losses, we don't mean them getting absolutely ploughed 9-0 by Leicester. In 11th spot, we have Newcastle, and they perhaps have overperformed over the last 2 seasons, as many thought they'd be relegation candidates. However, they've shown with shrewd defensive play, they're a fairly solid mid-table team. It's not the Premier League win that the Newcastle fans were hoping they'd be getting with all that Saudi oil money, but it's better than getting relegated again. I mean, you could be Sunderland. In 10th spot, we have Sheffield United, and they were probably the biggest surprise of last season. They were in contention for a European place up until the COVID break. This despite signing Jack Rodwell and Ravel Morrison. This season, Dean Henderson has returned to Manchester United, and Aaron Ramsdale is his replacement. The Blades could be a one-season wonder like Reading or Ipswich and get relegated, but we predict they'll more or less match last season's achievements. And in 9th, we have Everton. You guessed it, of course. It wouldn't be a Premier League season if Everton weren't there, finishing just outside the European spot and never being a risk to relegation. I think Everton fans need to face the reality that they're a mid-table team. And while yes, Carlo Ancelotti does show a certain level of ambition, and he could be the one who breaks them into the top 6, they haven't proven anything yet. I mean, they lost 3-0 to Blackpool a few weeks ago. They've made some good moves in the midfield of Alan, James Rodriguez and Decore, and it looks a lot better than the likes of Tom Davies, Fabian Delph and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Yes, they look promising against Spurs, but mind you, it was Spurs. In 8th spot, Leicester. Last season, they went from the biggest surprise of the season to its biggest disappointment. Kind of like my life and when I was born to now. Being overtaken by Man United despite being 15 points ahead of them in February was, yeah. It will be interesting to see if Leicester can bounce back from their poor second half of the last season, or if they'll slump down into mid-table mediocrity. And so they sit on the barrier between European football and mid-table. 8th place for them. Wolves in 7th. The actual best team from outside the Big Six. Sorry, Everton. Wolves have helped answer the age-old question of how would a Portuguese team do in the Premier League? Represent, guys. Represent. And they're another team who looked strong for most of the season before not acquiring European football at the final hurdle. They've lost Matt Doherty and brought in Fabio De Silva. Oh, Silva, not De Silva. So yeah, more lateral movement from Wolves. In 6th position, we have Spurs. Last season's biggest disappointment, and Daniel Levy appears to be up to his usual nonsense as Jose Mourinho is practically on his knees begging for the team to sign a striker, but to no avail. Overall, Spurs have a certain lack of quality and depth that the other top teams have, and they rely too much on a few key players, cue Son and Kane for example. This is going to be amplified by the fact that the fixture list is even more congested than usual this year, and Spurs might be playing 9 games in 22 days very soon. In 5th place, Arsenal. Michael Arteta seems to have whipped Arsenal into, and yes, I did call him Michael. Michael Arteta seems to have whipped Arsenal into a decent side as they achieved an FA Cup win and a Community Shield win after he took over. And the Spaniard seems to be making a lot of progress as the team is starting to look more comfortable than they did under Emery or even caretaker Ljungberg. And before the Arsenal fans complain about us not putting them in the top 4, you're above Spurs. In 4th place, we have Manchester United. After languishing in 14th place in Game Week 8, Man United somehow spot-kicked their way. Because we got a set of penalties last season. And everyone was complaining about it. Man United somehow spot-kicked their way into 3rd place thanks to the return of Pogba and the signing of the Lord and Saviour, Bruno Fernandes, Al Matador. United were a different side in the second half of the season, and they showed some amazing form. However, on the back of the longest transfer saga known to man, that still continues to this day. Man United have made very little positive reinforcements this summer, and we don't see them closing the gap on Man City and Liverpool or keeping up with the transfer piling at Chelsea. And in third place, we have Chelsea after they made big money signings in Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz, Ben Chilwell, Timo Werner and Thiago Silva. Chelsea can only be looking to move upwards, and while we don't think they have the capability to get all these new players to mesh right away and catch the top two teams, they surely made enough improvements to finish third. In second place, we have Manchester City. Man City weren't able to continue their dominant streak as a result of injuries and some substandard, and I mean substandard defending last season. And you'd expect them to come bouncing back with a vengeance and make some huge moves. However, Man City haven't really done that, and yes, they've picked up some quality players in Ferran Torres and Nathan Ake. However, we don't think it'll be enough of an improvement to reclaim the title, which means in first place we have last season's winners, Liverpool. Last season's runaway winners are favourites once again, and while their points advantage was a bit inflated last season, they haven't made any new signings. They've kept onto key players, and you can't really improve on perfection, now can you? Okay guys, thank you for watching the video and making it to this point. In the future, we are going to have a very special giveaway, so do watch out onto our socials on Instagram, YouTube, and also on Twitch as well. Speaking of which, definitely join us on Twitch. We stream every single Sunday and Tuesday, and by we, I mostly mean me. But definitely come jump into the chat, give us your thoughts. If you don't exactly always have the time to meet us up on Twitch, I would very much appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to the channel. But more importantly than anything, as always, please leave a comment below. Where do you guys think the predictions are going to end up for you? Or maybe your predictions are exactly the same as ours, in which case, just like and subscribe. So yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Thanks so much for joining, and as always, Fick Fufa on. Oh my god, he killed Dean, dude. No, Reza, no. No, Reza, no, 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 no. Dude. Guys? GG.
Brethren, you're a rabbit.
Well,
Oh.
Kisses.